What's up, everybody? Eli Copperman here. Now, we have officially finished the Steve Stanchfield interviews that were all scheduled for each Friday, with the exception of one. This kind of came up as not a last-minute thing, but more just a final thing, just to give this series one last hurrah and then just be done. So, what exactly is it? Well, Luke asked Steve a very interesting question, and it was about a character that he loves a lot. That character is Scrappy. No, not you. Thank you. But you're probably wondering, who is this character? Well, I'm gonna tell y'all. So, with all that said and done, here's the final Steve Spheels episode related to one of his favorite cartoon characters and why he meant so much to him. Play!
Here is a question I always had. Why do you like the character Scrappy so much?
So, you know, the thing about what I do at Thunderbean is I'm always trying to champion the lost characters. But I bought the book Mice and Magic when it came out in 1980. I was 12 years old. And so it was an amazing thing that there was now a book on all the other studios besides Disney's. I tried to find the Fleischer storybook for years and years, and there wasn't a single library that had it here. Nobody had it. Eventually, my mom was able to find a company that ordered rare books, and they actually found it. It was actually hard to find the Fleischer story back then. It had been published in 1972 or 3, I think, maybe 74. But anyway, the reason I love Scrappy, so I'm 12 years old, and I'm reading about all these different studios for the first time. And you can't see any of these films. There isn't YouTube. There's certainly Scrappy isn't on VHS or anything.
Nope.
And I was just longing to see them because they looked so interesting. I was collecting movies back then. I was collecting Super 8 films. And you could only find some cartoons on Super 8, some Disney things, and Ken Films had put out some of the MGM films, and there were a few other things. You could find some Terry Tunes, but not much. But what I discovered is that there was and I think I must have been 13 when this happened, there were magazines of people selling old movie prints. You know, people actually had these things, and they were selling them in 8 millimeter and mostly 16 millimeter. And so my obsession with Scrappy started. I found an issue of Movie Collector's World, which had ads for people selling prints. And I managed to find a print of Holidayland in black and white, which was the only prints you could find at that point.
Right.
And so I was hooked once I saw that cartoon. And not long after that, in that same rare bookstore I was talking about, I bought a bunch of issues of something called Mind Rot. And Mind Rot was a little fanzine type magazine that was a black and white Xerox with a black and white Xerox colored cover. It sort of looked like Fleischer's Animated News in a way, but tiny. It was a little tiny pulp magazine. It was the kind of fanzine that you could have found on the shelves back in the 80s. And there was a whole issue about Scrappy that was written by Paul Enchevarby and Harry McCracken, I think. And so they had detailed a bunch of the Scrappy cartoons. And that thing became my Bible, because now I had a list of the Scrappy cartoons, and I had a way of trying to figure out when they were made and which one was first, and I had Mice and Magic filmography as well. But anyway, I started buying a lot of Scrappy cartoons in 16 millimeter, and you know, I think that I really started to get a lot more when I was finally 15, 16, and able to actually work. And I worked at Chuck E. Cheese, and so I worked at Chuck E. Cheese, and I was spending all my money buying Scrappy cartoons.
Nice.
And I'd go to film shows, and there'd be people that had Scrappy cartoons for sale. So I was just finding them one at a time. I still have a lot of those prints, you know, that I bought when I was a teenager, and I'm like 52 now. So I still have prints. I think I have 79 of the 108 Scrappies or 103 Scrappies or whatever it is.
Wow.
So I don't have all of them, but I have most of them.
That's great. Wasn't that great? Isn't Steve Stanchfield so much fun to listen to? But with that all said and done, I hope you guys enjoyed this series. It was a lot of fun to make. Steve was an excellent guest. I hope to speak to you again sometime soon. But until then, I have a lot of stuff to do. You know, school to take care of, animations to make, blah blah blah. But until there's another great person to listen to more great animation stories, catch y'all later.